Welcome. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. From our BizVision studios in the UK, you're watching the Conscious Matters show on the BV-TV network. Now, my core theme for my guests for the first quarter of 2021 is Awaken. But today's guest herself has already awoken, as I found out when she kindly appeared as a guest in 2020. But that's last year. It's now 2021, thank goodness, and we all need a bit of awakening to bounce not just back, but bounce ahead. My guest has truly discovered her calling and is expertly motivating people with her book, Born to Do It, Becoming the Leader of a Business Niche Using Powerful Spiritual Techniques. After my first interview with her, I knew instantly that she was a perfect fit to guest on our Conscious Matters show. So many of our Conscious Agenda followers want to start and develop their own business, but they want to do it with social conscience and with the right empathy and understanding. So to get to the answers you seek, let's say hello again to the Film Festival doctor, Rebekah Louisa Smith. Welcome, Rebekah.
Hi, Malcolm. Nice to be here again.
Oh, it's brilliant to see you. Now, Rebekah, there are two aspects of your book and work that I want to explore more deeply with you in this interview, and they both impact on our conscious agenda thinking. The first is finding your niche. I've interviewed many entrepreneurs who have been inspired to go off and create a business around something they are passionate about, believing it to be a niche, but it turns out to be not so, with little opportunity for profit or even surplus. How should that person, passionate about something, go about discovering their profitable niche, keeping in mind their conscious agenda thinking of planet, people, and profits?
The key thing is to have a very laser sharp focus. So let's give an example. So say, for example, you're pretty good and know inside out really well social media. That's a niche. That's quite a big niche because social media obviously incorporates LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and it's very well, widely known as a very big market. People need help in that, but you got to really pin down what area you're best at. And that's, for example, break it down to one more. So you best in Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest? Let's say it's Facebook. But what aspect of Facebook are you most known to do great in? And also what is your kind of area that your expertise is? Is it, for example, helping businesses create really good Facebook marketing adverts to get revenue and to get an investment, to get more clients? Or is it better at doing it, how to generate business leads on Facebook through different ways of engaging with content? So really figure out what that micro niche aspect is that you're best at, that can get really good results for your clients. And then do your research. Do they need this service? Probably yes, with it being social media. And then go from there. And that's the way to really become an expert in your niche, to know what you're best at. Being a jack of all trades and doing a bit of this, bit of that will not be sustainable. And also you won't be known for that one great thing. Do what you're best at. With hairdressers, for example, one hairdresser of mine here in Mexico, she said, I don't do perms, I don't do men's hair because I'm better at doing color for blonde women. There you go. That's her niche, and that's what she thrives in. That's why she's back to back, because people know her as an expert in her field.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. So they've got that niche, or they think they have. How do they then make it into a sustainable business that will attract the customers that they desire and at the right price?
The first thing is market research. So yes, you've got this amazing skill in this niche that you've honed in on it. You know exactly what you can give to people, but do they want it? Is there a need for it? Is it an oversaturated market, or is it a very small market? There's very, very little people for it to be a business. And the way to do that is to do your research maybe on Zoom. So request with some local businesses, for example, that use Facebook but aren't getting results from it. What do they want? And can you satisfy that need? And is what you're good at doing be able to help them in further detail? That way you've got a business there and there's a demand. They can ask other people if they want it too. And word of mouth spreads around. There's a need for it. For example, it's a general one, but a client of mine, he loves making candles. And he did it as a hobby. But I was like, well, everyone has a candle in their house, don't they? Like, and restaurants and cafes and homes, and businesses. So there's going to be a need here, but you've obviously got aromatherapy candles that are very good for intimate settings, romantic nights out and spas and whatever. And then we found there was a big gap locally for those that wanted that kind of sensual aromatherapy for doing, treatments and whatever. and that got his market. Yes, he does it to locals, Mr. Smith in the house, but not so much, say, corporate companies with aromatherapy in there. That's not for them. But he knew what the audience was, and then he knew how to target it through the right kind of advertising and word of mouth.
Yeah, I think that's really so true, and there's such a difference. I mean, if we buy four candles for dinner time or something like that, it's about £1 in the supermarket. But one of the guests on our show, Omon Jane, she sells her candles, one candle for £70 because it's got that beautiful scent in it. You're so right. Yes,
And Jo Malone, with her like 50, 70, well, than that probably, but I mean, they last a long time, and the scent is one of a kind. And it's market.
You just don't light it. Look, an aside question. You've succeeded in a tough world around the film industry, a world which led obviously to the Me Too movement. Do you think change is happening and that there's correctly more opportunities for women in the film industry sector to develop a leadership career? Or is there still a disposable, callous approach? And what can accelerate change?
There has been a change. There's been a shift since Me Too. And there was a big thing back when that happened with film production sets. People actually admitted there was issues, with women and all the casting couch. Has been a change of that women can actually do more now than they did before. I don't say it's easier, but it's certainly become more. I don't think there's more opportunities for women to get funding than there was before, and festivals really homed in on like women directed films, and women who have won the big prizes at like Toronto Film Festival. Nomadland was a female director from a different country and a black female director, which is a really good start. And the same with other big festivals too. That same film did the rounds and won lots of big awards because it's a great piece of movie making, but a female voice, female director. I work with lots of women directors nowadays. It's getting easier to make films for them. They're doing it more themselves and no like blockages in the way. So it's changing slowly but surely. A lot of the time it used to be, before Me Too happened, it was a blessing in disguise. But before Me Too happened, it was all women just talking about let's try and be equal, and it was really, nothing was really happening. But now it's very much like now something has happened like this. It is a bit more like, wow, now women can actually need to be treated equal, not as secondary. So some territories can't always do that because how they are. But some territories like America, UK, it's a lot more open, a lot more creativity, and more films being made by women.
Brilliant. Yeah. Look, Rebekah, just before we move on to the next question, let's make sure everyone has taken down the URL of your website so they can follow through on this interview. I'll read it out for listeners, but viewers can see it on the screen behind me. For listeners, it's thefilmfestivaldoctor.com. I'll repeat that, thefilmfestivaldoctor.com. Rebekah, let's get back to your book, Born to Do It. We've got our niche and we've discovered how to brand and grow it, but you go further than that and you talk about the spiritual magic that ignites business acceleration. Now, I'm all for fast growth, especially with our Business Velocity Club, but to some it may seem a bit incongruous, as you associate fast growth with business sharpness, determination, knock everyone out of our way approach, but you advocate keeping to your soul purpose and spiritual guidance, which may seem the opposite to acceleration. Can you explain your thinking so that viewers can see that they can still achieve fast growth and be true to their conscious agenda?
Yes, it's very important to integrate spiritual techniques into your business. It's all good having like the technical business things there. When you've got the wrong mindset, you haven't got a positive mindset and you don't draw upon manifestation, for example, it can actually cause a dent in the business. So, for example, I like to draw upon manifestation and cosmic ordering to function in my business. So every year, for example, we always create our affirmations for the yearly affirmations, and we break them down to like weekly and daily goals, what we want to achieve. And it comes together very, very easily so we know what we want. So we put it out there what we want and very focused on what we want as well. So it's important that you do keep that kind of spiritual aspect in business, because if you're too materialistic and too about the money, nothing will happen. It's actually what we're here is to serve, and that's conscious and that's spiritual, and you're here to solve the problem for the client using your soul purpose and your gifts that you've been born with to be that go-to person, expert in your field. It's not all about the money. Yes, that's important, but it's not the driving factor. If it is a driving factor, you end up failing because it's all about one thing. You're here to serve, you're here to solve problems, you're here to help the client, and then you'll feel joy in that. And money is part of the process. It's not like the only thing. So it's important that you have that spiritual mindset where you can manifest what you want. You know what you want, visualize what you want with vision boards, and place your orders with the universe, what you really want to achieve. And then I'll help you because you co-create. That's important in businesses and in daily life, but especially business too, to really then show your gift.
Do you think, by the way, you should start off with a daily routine then?
Yes. So every day, in my office, what we do when we wake up, we have our lemon and ginger tea. And then the first thing is, like, what do you want to achieve today? We've got meetings in the diary, we've got interviews. So what do you want to achieve from each one? And then we'll co-create the universe and, manifest for it to be the way we want it to be and what we want from it. And then we do our general affirmations for the whole, to keep our brains in tune and alignment with what we want, and to keep, getting it out there and saying it so we know exactly what we want to get back from this.
I like that. That's sort of like a group affirmation in a way. Yeah.
Yes, and my staff are the same because they're never going to be like not spiritual. They're going to be on the same page and be open to that, which is great. You have to have that in your team. So yeah, we're very focused on knowing what we want and how to get there.
Great. Do you think, by the way, I'm just adding an extra question in here. Do you think that could still work virtually, so that the team via Zoom or whatever can do that group affirmation, or is it something you need to do personally?
Absolutely. So we tend to do on a Monday, the Monday morning goal setting, so that it can be personal goals for their own stuff and for the business, and also gets you in alignment for the whole week. And then to keep doing that each day gets you more focused than being like off the radar. I mean, sometimes when I wake up, I can be like, well, I've got this to do because I've got stuff on, and I've got to do stuff from the UK and whatever, because I'm based in abroad. But then I think I'll just sit down and go, right, let's ask, and then just get or place the night before, like a big business meeting in the morning, first thing. Place the night before so you can get it all organized behind the scenes with the universe when you wake up. So it's all about discipline, also being committed as well. And you can work anywhere. I mean, I work remotely all the time, and you can do everything you can, really. So it works really well.
Excellent. Now, before I move on to my final question, let me just remind the viewers again of the URL. And the book is called Born to Do It, and the filmfestivaldoctor.com, filmfestivaldoctor.com. Sadly, Rebekah, is my final question. It's 2021, and our first quarter theme with guests is Awaken, especially with a conscious agenda in mind. What 3 things do you want people watching this interview to awaken to or about in respect of your work?
So I'd like people to discover the book, and then when they've read it, to really feel that they've actually know what they want to do with their lives and what their soul purpose is. And secondly, that leads into understanding what a soul purpose is, what the book describes, and for them to really feel confident how to tune into it and to really live the life that they should be living. And thirdly, I'd like them to really get a grip of a cosmic ordering, because that's a brilliant technique and it's given them a lot of success. And when they do it, and not to be scared to do it, it might seem a bit weird at first. When they do it, they'll love it. That's what I'd love to get from the book when they read it.
Brilliant. Rebekah Louisa Smith, I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting you again. Now, we're going to follow through together, aren't we? Because you're onto a secret mission at the moment that we're going to be telling people about later on in the year when you've succeeded. And I look forward to re-chatting to you. But thanks for a great interview today.
Thank you so much. You're a star.